Technology has already changed our world. I mean, who knew that we'd be able to flick a switch to illuminate the darkness rather than lighting a candle? It's wild. But the technology we have today and will have in the future is absolutely insane. From 3D printing houses to robotics to help us in our jobs, here are 20 emerging technologies that will change the world. Number 20. Teleportation. Teleportation always seems like something you see in science fiction books, TV shows, and movies rather than in real life. But could teleportation really be out of the question? Possibly not. I mean, sure, it's not possible to physically deconstruct ourselves in one location and reconstruct ourselves in another, nor is it possible to translate ourselves into data in one spot and reconvert it into organic matter in another. But in 1993, a group of scientists believed teleportation was possible in principle and wasn't against the laws of physics. More recently, scientists from China and the United States have been playing with teleportation as a real thing. They aren't at the level of being able to teleport themselves from one location to another, but they have been able to teleport photons from one place to a satellite 300 miles away from that starting point using something called quantum entanglement. This means that photons can share the same state even with the distance separating them. So if you change the state of one particle, it changes the state of the other, even when they're not connected. At the moment, this exciting advancement might only prove helpful in creating a faster and more powerful quantum internet, but there's no reason why it can't evolve into something much more exciting. I'm sure most people would love not having to endure a commute to work or school every day. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now, or this centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. Number 19. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, also known as AI, describes a machine's ability to learn, reason, create, and perceive. Once upon a time, these actions were unique to humans, and the very thought of a machine being able to use its initiative was terrifying. In fact, we used to believe that the day machines started thinking for themselves, they would take over and we'd be goners. And I mean, there's still time for that to happen, but right now, we're just taking advantage of what we've been able to create. AI involves computer science programming for machines to imitate our thoughts and actions to perform tasks humans would have previously performed. The goal right now is to free up human time and skill sets for less labor-intensive and monotonous tasks. We also benefit from less human error, higher productivity, and cheaper labor. We're not even at the peak of innovation in this sector, yet we're seeing AI used in various industries, such as customer service, transportation, education, manufacturing, and even the media. Textbooks are being digitized in the education sector to help students and tutors, and AI-powered robots are working alongside humans in assembly lines in the manufacturing industry. In customer service, we can rely on AI assistants to find the things we need, with systems understanding keywords to track down a product, service, or business. AI is incredibly advanced now, but there will come a day when we look back on this day and think, wow, we were really just getting started. Number 18. 5G and the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things involves different things like software, technology, and sensors, all connecting and exchanging data over the internet or another type of communications network. In most situations, they're all connected via 5G internet. In fact, up until 5G came along, you couldn't even have reliability with your connectivity outdoors. 5G was a game changer as far as internet speed and reliability were concerned. We thought 4G was great, but 5G is on a whole different level. We used to enjoy response times of about 20 to 40 milliseconds with 4G, but that can be as low as 1 millisecond with 5G. And do you remember how hard it was to get connectivity at large events when everyone's mobile devices were connected to one tower? Well, 5G lets us avoid that network congestion and tweet, Snapchat, and Instagram to our heart's content. According to engineering and internet experts, 5G has been a game changer since it covers a wide range of radio frequencies and has long-range connectivity. Remember when you used to have to put up with freezing and awkward pauses on conference calls at work? Well, those are a thing of the past with 5G. If you can block out all the conspiracy theories related to this tech, I promise it's not giving you coronavirus, you'll see just how great it can be. Number 17. Serverless computing. Once upon a time, businesses had to lease massive offices. Sure, they needed plenty of room for their workers, but they also had to ensure they had enough space for their many bulky servers. Then, cloud computing came along and we didn't have to worry about that anymore. Now, you might have thought we peaked with cloud computing, but we didn't. Instead, we've moved on to serverless computing. Serverless computing relates to cloud computing, but it has been a game changer for app and software developers. Rather than having to factor infrastructure into the development of their apps, they can focus on app features and code alone. Once they've finished their app, they can load it onto their computer and rely on an external service provider without worrying about building and maintaining their own server. The best part is that serverless computing is scalable. You can use as much or as little server space as you need and scale up or down as your needs change. Serverless computing is reasonably new tech, but it's already evolving at a rapid pace. It's already a core part of next-generation cloud infrastructure. Number 16. Biometrics. Do you remember watching science fiction movies as a kid and being in awe of people being able to enter buildings just by having it scan their irises and fingerprints? It seemed impossible at the time, but now we have such technology being implemented all around us. We can access our phones with our fingerprints, and many businesses have also installed biometric security measures so that only permitted people can access specific buildings and rooms. That's advanced enough, but it's only getting more refined as the years pass. Now, businesses are using biometrics technology to make our everyday lives easier. As in, rather than carrying your wallet with ID and bank cards, you'll be able to verify who you are in various situations with your fingerprint, iris, facial features, and palm. You might think it's a far-off reality, but it's not. Palm ID is already in many parts of the world, such as the Jeju International Airport in South Korea and Amazon Go shops in Seattle. Once you've used computer vision technology to scan the lines and patterns on your palm, you connect it to your payment card. Instead of paying with your card, you can hold your hand over a scanner. Soon enough, making purchases will be as easy as finding what you need in a shop, scanning your hand, and leaving the store. It's mind-blowing. Number 15. Augmented reality. We already know what virtual reality is. It involves immersing yourself in a virtual environment with a headset device. You can play games and explore new parts of the world you've never been to before without leaving the comfort of your home. Augmented reality is similar, but also different. It involves real-world scenes with only a small portion being virtual. You also don't need a headset and are in contact with the real world. We can expect virtual reality headsets to be less bulky and more streamlined than they are today and have more and better features like hand detection and eye tracking. But most experts predict that some of the best and most valuable advancements will be in augmented reality. We're seeing those changes now. For example, the San Jose International Airport in Silicon Valley partnered with Google to test out AR in a program called Tango. With it, they could project 3D maps of the city to help people preview their routes and find hotels. British Airways also partnered with the airport using the Tango program to project images in the concessions areas of attractions in the city. Everyday businesses will also be able to use it by projecting online catalogs to provide better product views. Number 14. Blockchain. Blockchain is complicated technology to wrap your head around. It's basically a distributed database that maintains a list of ordered records called blocks. The blocks are linked with cryptography, and each block is a cryptographic hash of the previous block, as well as transaction data and a timestamp. Perhaps the most noteworthy point about blockchain is that it's decentralized, which means banks and other authoritative groups have nothing to do with it. While blockchain is mainly used for recording and storing transactions, many parts are now being evolved and developed for a range of real-world applications. For example, if we make money transfers over a blockchain, we could enjoy near-instant settlements and even eradicate banking transfer fees for good. Microsoft has also been experimenting with blockchain to help people keep their digital identities safe. It might even play a core part in healthcare, with healthcare providers able to manage their electronic medical records and clinical trial data within the blockchain. Many businesses are now seeing its value for security and money and time savings, which means there's plenty of interest in advancing it further than it is today. Number 13. The Metaverse. You'd be forgiven for not knowing what the metaverse is. After all, it's something that hasn't existed for very long. Meta means next or beyond in Greek, so we're talking about beyond this universe or the next universe. It's a crazy idea, but a metaverse is basically a 3D form of the internet we have today, like a digital universe we have with individual avatars, and we can interact with other people's avatars. It's basically like a more advanced version of Habbo Hotel. I show my age here. And if you think there wouldn't be many real-world advantages to having a metaverse, you'd be wrong. It could and likely will change our lives in many ways. For example, if you've always wanted to travel but don't have the funds or abilities to do so, you can travel in the metaverse. You can interact with people and places, pay for various services in Bitcoin, and still never leave your home. Or, if it's been some time since you've caught up with a friend due to them living far away, you could meet up with them in the metaverse for a coffee, almost like you were sitting in the same room together. Soon enough, you might even be able to go shopping in the metaverse. Your avatar can try on clothes to make sure they suit you, and you can then pay for them to be delivered to your physical location. The future is gonna be wild, and I can't wait. Number 12. Robotics. Robotics describes the engineering branch of robots, including their conception, design, creation, application, and use. When you hear the word robot, you might picture a clunky metal critter from an old-school film that can say a few phrases. But they are much more advanced and helpful today than ever before, and their future is also looking bright. Already, robots are being used in various industries, like healthcare to assist in surgeries, manufacturing on assembly lines, and even in space exploration with Mars Explorer robots. We even benefit from them in our home lives, with robots vacuuming our floors and mowing our lawns. There are many reasons why businesses and individuals might welcome robots with open arms. They can work in hazardous environments too unsafe for humans, and they can increase productivity. While employees need to take breaks on the manufacturing line, robots don't. They also don't get sick or take paid time off. The future's looking pretty bright as far as robots are concerned. With the help of artificial intelligence, robots can now identify and recognize objects, and they're also gaining fine motor skills to pick up items without crushing them into dust. Robots now have motion control and navigation down to a fine art, which means they can self-navigate without you having to control their every move. Number 11. Natural language processing. If you were to try and talk to your phone just a decade ago, people would think you were crazy. Your phone can't understand you, and you have to press the buttons and tap the screen to get it to do what you want. That used to be the case, but natural language processing has changed all that. Now, we can ask our phone's unique virtual personal assistants to do things for us. Not only can we use our own voices to get our phones to send text messages, but we can also ask where the nearest gas station is or what the phone number is for the nearest pizza restaurant. This is a massive upgrade from just a few years ago, when even though we could talk to our phones, we had to be more specific. We had to say things like search pizza restaurant in a particular zip code, town, or city. We are also now using natural language processing for home devices like smart speakers. As soon as you wake up, you can ask the speaker what the weather will be like, and you'll enjoy detailed, localized weather information. Number 10. Quantum computing. Quantum computing is complex, and most people won't know what it is or how it works. But that doesn't mean we never will, it'll just take time. Quantum computing is a form of technology that harnesses the laws of quantum mechanics, like entanglement and superposition, to solve problems that our traditional computers can't. You might think that everything we need to find and know is available in a Google search engine, but that's not the case. Often, engineers and scientists encounter complex problems and rely on supercomputers with thousands of GPU and CPU cores. But even with these powerful computers, they still can't get the information they need. And that's where quantum computing comes in. While a supercomputer might quickly sort through a database of protein sequences, it can't always see data patterns and figure out how the proteins behave. Quantum computing can, because it takes a different approach. Quantum algorithms are built for complex problems, even though they are smaller and require less energy. Most quantum processors are hardly bigger than those you find in a laptop, and the hardware system is about the size of a car. In saying that, they are very complex. They need superfluids to remain at temperatures of about 1/100th of a degree above 0 degrees, and they use something called Josephson junctions so that we can control their behavior. These Josephson junctions are used as superconducting qubits that hold, change, and read quantum information. Number 9. Spin launch. We're all finding more energy-efficient and environmentally friendly ways to do things. So it was only a matter of time before companies looked at how to make space travel a bit better on the wallet and the planet. Today's rockets have thousands of highly complex parts that are either thrown out or must be refurbished at a considerable cost. Spin Launch believed they could change that. They wanted to create a rocket that could reuse the centrifuge repeatedly, significantly reducing the cost of space missions. Spin Launch is a startup company that has so far completed about 9 high-altitude test flights of a scaled-down version of its invention. They created spin projectiles, which use centrifugal force to generate the energy necessary to send something into space. They aim to use a small ballpoint pen-shaped rocket encapsulating a satellite and tether it to a motor in a large vacuum-sealed chamber. The rocket would then come out of a hatch, and once it reaches the edges of the atmosphere, the onboard rocket motor would fire up to propel it even further. It's such a great idea that well-known companies like Airbus Ventures and Google Ventures have poured millions of dollars into it. According to Spin Launch CEO Jonathan Yaney, the company was about taking a fresh look at how we can use ground-based and renewable energy to do things differently. Number 8. Cybersecurity Mesh. Cybersecurity mesh is a security architecture that secures the individual access points of a network. Sure, we already have firewalls and antivirus software, but these were designed for physical organizations and the networks and infrastructure within them. We're now on the move with laptops, phones, and tablets, so we need something to protect us outside those perimeters. So this is what cybersecurity mesh is. It extends that security perimeter around people rather than physical locations. Security mesh is far more flexible and robust than simple walls and provides different access and security levels to reduce network hacking risks. Cybersecurity mesh also has different layers to help all security controls work harmoniously. These include security analytics and intelligence, which combine data and information between technology types. Then there's distributed identity fabric, which helps you build zero-trust architecture with adaptability to your needs, such as identity proofing, directory services, and decentralized identity management. You've also got dashboards, so your security team can see your entire security ecosystem in one place, and centralized policy and posture management for unique security tool configuration. Perhaps the most significant benefit to businesses is that cybersecurity mesh helps your business detect threats in real time so that you can act quickly. You can also rest assured that your assets, like devices and data, can be far better protected. Number 7. Cloud-native platforms. Cloud-native platforms describe building apps and operating systems explicitly for the cloud and to take advantage of the cloud's offerings. The emergence of cloud-native technologies has meant that businesses and organizations are encouraged to build and operate their apps in public, private, and hybrid cloud types. By doing so, they can enjoy many benefits, such as scalability and easy modifications. Currently, there are 3 popular cloud-native applications: software containers, software-defined infrastructure, and microservices. Software containers are mobile operating systems developed into apps and software components. The containers are small, reusable, fast, and easy to deploy. Software-defined infrastructures are all about helping businesses reallocate and scale up or down their resources. They are desirable for being easy to stop or start. Then there are microservices, which are software services that can be merged into a complete application. Their purpose is to make applications more flexible and extend their capabilities. Cloud-native platforms are complicated to understand, so why are businesses trying to learn more about them? Well, basically, they want to benefit from a more streamlined software development lifecycle, one which can take care of its own bugs and slow loading speeds while being easier to manage, more reliable, and more cost-effective. Number 6. Bitcoins. The Bitcoin digital currency was released in 2009. Almost immediately, people saw it as a decentralized network that would put ordinary people back in control of their money and out of the hands of banks and governments. Many experts saw its invention as on par with computers and the internet, but others thought it was just a fad that would eventually die off. But it's changing the world as we know it. Sure, many everyday people only learned about it because it's made paying for illegal things like drugs and weapons easier, but still, it's slowly making its way into our daily lives for more legitimate things. For example, many shops now let you pay for everyday goods like food and clothing, and it's only a matter of time before there are more Bitcoin accepting businesses than ones that don't. Bitcoin is also now accepted as legal tender in El Salvador. Although perhaps one of the most desirable features that'll help it remain relevant in the years to come is that it's a form of currency protected against currency inflation. There's a fixed Bitcoin supply, which means there will always be under 21 million Bitcoin in circulation. Almost 90% of it is already in circulation. The same can't be said for traditional currency, which banks control and can increase the supply of as they feel like it. Number 5. Low-code technology. Businesses always knew they had to adapt to the times, but they thought they had plenty of time to develop online self-service platforms and digital shopping opportunities. But then the pandemic hit, and going digital was one of the only ways many businesses could stay afloat. So they had to adapt, and fast. We now rely on technology for much of our daily living conveniences, but many businesses are struggling. Most often, this struggle has to do with a lack of low-code skills. You need low-code skills to create and develop apps efficiently. Low-code is a software development platform and approach. Developers use it to create app software through graphical user interfaces. Low-coded platforms can produce completely operational apps or create something basic that requires extra coding for custom needs. The issue is that most of us don't know what we're doing. We don't know how to code, yet businesses generally need experts who can code. Some countries are in a skills crisis in this respect. It's so severe that some governments are requesting that schools implement digital skills into their curriculums so that we have a new generation of skilled coders coming through to help businesses through digital transformations now and in the future. Number 4. Decision intelligence. Making decisions can be hard work, especially if you're unsure if you've got all the facts to make a well-informed decision. Well, if you have decision intelligence, you'll be able to make commercial decisions much easier than ever before. Decision intelligence is a commercial part of artificial intelligence that is very much outcome-focused regarding commercial objectives. Business owners and managers use decision intelligence to optimize their departments, cut costs, and improve overall business performance. It's all about the data. The more data a business collects, the easier it is to use AI and the more straightforward decision-making can be. Decision intelligence isn't about removing us from decision-making altogether, but it's about ensuring that we can view all the data relating to our decision so that we're informed enough to make the right decision. And it seems that it's taking off. According to some of the most recent stats, around 1/3 of large organizations will use decision intelligence to make decisions by 2023. Some experts also predict that companies that don't use decision intelligence in the future will be on the back foot, like those who are late to take their businesses digital. Number 3. Genomics. Genomics relates to molecular biology and revolves around genome mapping, structure, function, and evolution. We use it to study genetic and epigenetic sequence information to understand sequence structure and function. The more we know about genomes, the more targeted we can be in our approach to healthcare. Rather than popping pills that work for most people to treat diseases, we can consider each person's genome and provide a more personalized approach for the best effect. You'd be wrong if you thought that we humans were all the same. A human genome has 3 billion DNA base pairs, arranged uniquely to give us characteristics like height and hair color. The DNA then forms genes we can use to learn how our bodies work and our processes when we get sick. For example, we know that we get diseases like cancer when our genes are altered, and genomics can actually identify these alterations and find them using genetic tests. If your results show that you're susceptible to a particular condition, you might be able to take action to delay or even prevent the disease from developing. Many experts have their own opinions about where genomics will be in the future, but most can agree that being able to understand our unique code and potentially manipulate it is the most significant evolutionary milestone we've made in the last 14 billion years. Number 2. Smarter devices. Our smart devices are pretty smart, but could they be even smarter? It seems so. We have the Internet of Things, and it's only a matter of time before all our devices work together better than they do now to provide us with a much more convenient way of life. Many experts think entertainment will be more immersive and convenient than it is now, as in we'll be able to play game console quality games from our smartphones wherever we want, and we'll make use of hearing aid technology for easier audio experiences relating to music, phone calls, and videos. Oh, you can basically say goodbye to wired smart devices for good. Most of us will transition permanently to Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connected devices with rechargeable batteries, and there won't be a single cord in sight. And then there's the health and fitness sector, which has already grown in leaps and bounds with our current tech. We already love our smartwatches and fitness trackers, and we're in awe of how they can track our steps, count the calories we've burnt, and measure our heart rates. But now, and especially as we progress with our tech advancements, we're able to manage stress levels, check our sleeping patterns, record snoring, and be reminded to take breaks and check in with our health and bodies in mindfulness practices. Our watches can even record when our heart rate skyrockets so that we can take a moment to breathe and reduce our stress levels. It's almost like our smart devices will know us better than we know ourselves. Number 1. 3D printing. Remember when we used to print little plastic trinkets on our entry-level 3D printers and we thought they were the best things since sliced bread? Oh, how far we've come. Now, if we can think it, we can print it. 3D printing companies are coming up with new features and technology all the time. And now, we're able to print everything from those small plastic toys to actual cars and houses. Well, let's not forget about the medical side of things too. Prosthetic limbs are expensive, but 3D printing has the potential to make them far more affordable than ever before. This can be particularly life-changing for people living in war-torn countries who never stand a chance of having a prosthetic limb. We're even moving into a new era of bioprinting, which is 3D printing with an ink consisting of human cells and tissues. Eventually, we'll be able to create 3D printed internal organs, and it won't even be that hard to believe, since we've already used 3D printers to repair damaged bone and cartilage. All the way back in 2014, surgeons used such tech to fix a man's face after he was in a car accident. Worried about the housing crisis? Don't even worry about it. A company in China offers 3D houses made out of recycled materials that cost less than $5,000 to create. They plan to expand into at least 20 other countries. 3D printing is well and truly taking over, and you won't hear too many people complaining.